Okay, do your intro.
Hey, this is Gunrunner 7271. We're here canning with Ember Copper. We're starting with tomatoes that have been frozen, quartered and frozen. Then we're going to run them through the food mill here, and that's what
this is the pulp from the tomatoes that have been run through.
Right, and those are the spoils.
Well, they have a use too.
Right.
Then this is a stock pot, and I have it on between medium and high, just to keep it simmering, so that a lot of the water will evaporate off, because we're making sauce and not juice. If we were making juice, we would keep the whole product.
Yum yum. Okay.
And these are just yellow tomatoes, but we don't have enough just yellow tomatoes to make yellow sauce. So we're going to combine yellow and red.
And yellow tomatoes are low acid, right?
Correct. So if we were just to make yellow sauce, we would have to add vinegar to the jars, or process them in a pressure can.
Okay. Now, as far as the reduction here, because that's basically what we're doing, is reducing this. How do you know when it's thick enough, or?
It's by feel.
By feel. What are we?
Since
what are we
you're
trying
making
to feel?
sauce that you want to eventually turn into. Let's do a disclaimer first.
Okay.
This is my opinion. This is how I do things. It's not necessarily Ball Blue Book. You know, there's a lot of influence by Ball Blue Book and some home canning guides, but this is what I've done for years.
Okay.
So, you know, everybody has their own way of doing things.
Okay.
This is how I do it. Because yellow tomatoes are low acid, that's why I add vinegar.
Okay.
Now, when I mean by feel, if you were to make spaghetti sauce, you would want your spoon to almost stay vertical a lot longer than that.
Okay.
If you put your hand through this, not your hand, but you stir this, there's a lot of fluid in there. It's not very viscous at all. It's not very thick.
That's what we're trying to boil off.
We're trying to boil that down. We're not going to boil it down to the point of pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce or chili starter, because you want to turn this into barbecue sauce.
Okay.
So it depends on what you're going to do with it as to how thick it is. It still needs to be reduced by at least half of volume. But of course, we won't know what our entire volume is until we get all of the tomatoes out.
All right.
Could you let him out? So that's why we're reducing.
Okay.
And when I said by feel, you'll know it starts to get thicker. It's harder to push around, and your spoon will stay up in here longer than it does there.
Okay. Outstanding.
Okay.
All right.
So I have my jars ready. We're going to put the water bath canner outside on the big burner with the jars in it.
Are we going to use the big 921?
No, that's a pressure canner.
Right.
We're going to use the water bath canner.
Okay.
This is water bath canning. You really want to learn to water bath can first. Why don't we let Hershey out before he has a cow?
Everybody, Hershey's kind of crazy. Everybody's met Hershey.
I just don't want hot, dogs and hot.
He's a 105-pound lab, and
go on, Connor, go out.
Hershey,
come on.
Out.
There we go.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right.
Small kitchen.
So.
Preferably, I like to have my jars going first.
Okay.
But I can't reach where the water bath canner is, and you guys were off at jiu-jitsu, so I couldn't reach the water bath canner.
Outstanding. We'll get that down for you.
But usually, I have the canner going with the jars in it, about half full of water.
Okay.
And then when you you take the water out of the jar and put it back into the canner so that eventually it'll bring it up.
Okay.
See, it's not soupy, you know what I mean? It's really thin, so we need to reduce that.
Okay.
But you don't want to reduce it over a high heat, because then you really burn off a lot of your... Well, it's not the scorching that's the problem. Is the more you process any food, the less vitamins you have and minerals and enzymes and all the good stuff.